starting recorder number 2, starting recorder number 3. And I am speaking to
Andrew McKinney.
And you are running for what office?
I'm running for ASUN president for the ADA session.
And just the state today is Wednesday, February 19th, 2020 at approximately 12:23 p.m. in Reno, Nevada, and we are having this conversation in the ASUN, packed place, which I was also going to say it's Senate lobby, but you know this better than I do.
Little old history there.
A little dated on my part, so I apologize for that. This is Don Dike-Anukam recording this as a Sandbox special, and here we go. So, Mr. McKinney, I want to say thank you for agreeing to talk to me today.
Awesome.
I'm quite interested in you and your campaign because it's been brought to my attention you're running, and again, it's campaign season around these parts here at ASUN.
It is another 23 days, I believe.
Right.
So,
and then there's early vote, I imagine, correct? Or?
So there's a primary this year because there's more than 2 presidential candidates. Mm-hmm. I believe that's going to be March 8th and 9th. After those voting, that's going to eliminate one of the people running, so it's going to go down to 2. Mm-hmm. So right now it's between me, Dom Hall, and Patricia De La Hoya. Once those primary votes are in, the top 2 people who get the most votes, they will get to continue to run to the general election, which is, I believe, March 11th and 12th, or 12th and 13th. Mm-hmm. And whoever wins that one will win the presidency, and that's like the same time you vote for the senators and the vice presidents.
So a whole new government will be effectively voted in. Mm-hmm. And if lucky, you will be hopefully heading that government.
Hopefully so.
Well, I best wishes to you in that case.
Thank you.
So that being said, starting this conversation, let's start with a very simple question. Who are you?
I am a junior here. I'm studying criminal justice, minor in political science. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. Came here to get the in-state tuition, but as well get away from home. I wanted to live outside the house, become my own person. I was raised mostly with women, 3 sisters. My stepmom basically raised me my entire life. My dad worked most of the time. That's basically who I am.
So high school, like what high school did you go down in Vegas?
I went to Coronado High School, and that's actually where, so freshman through junior year, I didn't really have like a path ahead of me. I was kind of just goofing off, didn't really focus on my studies. And senior year, I was actually convinced by our student council teacher there to join student council, and it kind of made me feel passionate about something for the first time. So that really made me settle down. I stopped doing goofy stuff with my friends on the weekends, like going out drinking with them, and I would more settle down and just put my head down and work so I could go to UNR, and that was the time I thought I had a future in front of me. Right.
So essentially, it's like you woke up in your last couple of years of high school and said,
my last year of high school. That's when I changed my whole path because I wasn't really planning on going to college, and then I was like, no, I need to. You know what I mean? This is I can do this.
I mean, would you say that there was if you could go back to that moment in time, was there a moment, like a conversation, with that government teacher, or interaction with the students, or something that just kind of said this, I want to do this, or this isn't the business, or et cetera, et cetera?
Well, my student council teacher, she took an interest in me, not an interest, but she thought I had something in me that I didn't really see in myself. So she would sit down and talk to me once a week and basically be like, hey, how are you doing? And she would make me set goals for weekly, monthly, and yearly goals for myself. So she was kind of the first person that made me really start seeing the future and start planning for myself. So I think she was probably the person. Her name is Mrs. Swenson.
Mrs. Swenson, yeah.
She was the one that really kick-started me into trying to become the man I am today.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you had a little bit of guidance.
100%. I think you can't really do it alone. I think everyone needs someone like a mentor or just someone that can push them, because I feel like as humans we get in our heads a lot. I think I'm, at least for myself, I'm my biggest doubter. I have my own biggest negative thoughts. So if someone's not there to like pick you up and set you straight, I think it's really hard for people to become as like successful as they can be. And that transitioned into my stepmom now, like I was telling you earlier.
Which, I want to allude to before we started this conversation. Andrew's raising his family. We were talking about his family in Vegas and how his family setup is like. So I just want to refer that point on record, which it sounds like as you were bringing up women in your life, a lot of female support. But not a lot of male support. Not a lot of, like, did you have uncles, like, close uncles or brothers or anything?
No brothers. It's really been more females that have been taking the lead and raising me into who I am. But I'm kind of happy for that because it's my dad, he like tried to instill masculinity and stuff into me, like whenever he did have the chance to try to like be around me. So I'm really glad that I didn't really get the very like masculine edge. It's more just like I got to hear everything from a woman's perspective. So my older sister, when she was dating guys or anything like that, I got to hear it from her perspective, and like she was like teaching me lessons along the way, and it just made me more like sensitive to other like people just in their emotions. It made me more tapped into my emotions too, I would say.
So let me go back to the high school years a little bit, transition to UNR here. So you've got your family set up at home in Vegas. You decide you're getting ready to kind of gear up to come up here in Reno, and then naturally you start the application process to apply to UNR, as opposed to going to UNLV, taking advantage of the in-state tuition, as you said, and you're here. And explain what was like the first 3 years for you here at UNR.
Freshman year, it was a little rough, I would say. Being on my own, I missed home a lot. I've suffered with pretty bad anxiety, I would say. It was hard for me to leave my dorm. So often I would have to go to the counseling center just to because I was just nervous all the time. Went through some things at home, like my parents got a divorce, grandpa died, things like that all kind of hit within the same 3 months, between my fall and spring semesters freshman year. So my grades suffered. That was the first time that my GPA dropped below 2.75 for the semester. So it was really trying to just pick myself up my sophomore year, and that's when I found mental health was so important. I had to stay on top of working out, had to stay on top of going making sure my room was clean, stuff like that, because I could see how bad it could falter if I let my mental health deteriorate. So that's why I see how hard it is for students coming here freshman year, and why so many people would choose to transfer back to UNLV, because so many of my friends went straight back to UNLV after our freshman year, and I see why. So that's why I think 100% freshmen should join any sort of organization they can, because it really does help you stick around. Because if I didn't join the fraternity I was in, or join just the little student friend groups I had, it would have I would have had no really reason to stay. But I stayed for the people, not the university in the beginning.
Right. So it sounds like you found your freshman year, you're just you got a rough go.
I found myself.
Right.
You find yourself when you're in the dumps. I'll be honest with you.
I can attest to that. I can attest to that because I had, you and I have, it sounds like a very similar background, except I didn't join a fraternity in my freshman year. Unfortunately, I kind of took a darker route than yours. And it sounds like you picked yourself up before it got worse. And
what do you mean a darker route?
I just never recovered to a degree. At that time, it took time for me to took a few more years to get my butt kicked. To realize, hey, bar friends aren't exactly the best. The bar friends aren't the best group of people hanging around.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, I didn't ask for help early on. That was one of the things I didn't do. So you appeared to have taken some good preemptive steps early on before things could have gotten much worse, which traditionally has happened to a lot of students.
My mom, my real mom, she suffers with really bad depression, which is the reason why we're not really close. And I've just really, really bad. So I kind of learned from her in a way. So I've seen what she did wrong, and that she didn't really pick herself up. So it scares the crap out of me to be like that. So I needed to. Like, it wasn't like a want. It was like
You've seen there was a contract. You had
yeah.
facia
I
personal
have to
experience.
pick myself up because I can't be like that. You know. So
your freshman year, you have a series of issues occur. You have a bad semester. Grades go to crap, but you find yourself. And you go to the student health center, which is something I remember. I think you made allusions to in your campaign literature, saying, "Yeah, this is what I did."
yeah, I go to the counseling center once every 2 to 3 weeks. Still, just I don't think we have the best counseling center on campus. I think there's some things we should fix, but it is definitely a place where, for me at least, I can go there and I can just let it all out for someone that doesn't really judge you. You know, they don't really. I'm not going to say they don't care, but they don't know you. They don't know, like, this won't go back to you. You could sit there and cry in front of them and just be like, damn, this sucks, you know? And they'll just listen. So I think that's all I need sometimes, just to let it out, so I can take more in and then just let it out again. So it's been working for me, and I tell everyone, like, I talk to go, because it does help, just to at least let it out to someone. Because you'll be more honest in there than with, like, a friend, because you don't want your friend to judge you. At least for me, you know?
I agree. That's what I mean. I myself go to counseling, so I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Again, there's similar paths here, so I can kind of see where you're coming from on some key points here. And I kind of want to ask this sidebar question in relation to how vocal and how open you are about the fact I go to counseling.
Yeah.
What made you decide to be so open about that? Because typically, culturally and publicly, people take a stand or take a position like, I don't want to put that out there. Like, that's something I want to talk about or whatnot. Like, you chose to just say, I do this. Why?
Because I think I've always just gone to counseling. Because my family, they like knew I was going through a lot as a kid and stuff like that between my households. So my stepmom or my mom or my dad would take me to counseling just to make sure I'm okay from the age of like 10 or 11. So it was never like a thing I had to overcome. It was just kind of a norm for my entire life to go talk to someone and let it out, which I'm thankful for. Not a lot of families are like that. So I'm very thankful that my family was able to. It was actually at the UNLV counseling center. That's the one I used to go to. So it was the people like getting their degrees and stuff like that, because that's what my family could afford. So that's where I went from like 10 to 14, 15. Then I stopped going in high school because I did start thinking like, I don't need that stuff. You know what I mean? I went through that phase like, I don't need to talk to anyone. I'm good now, But then it hit me again, so I said, time to go.
So it was self-awareness. So you have a certain degree of self-awareness about yourself and what to do.
Well, also it's because I see how much it helps me. So I don't really know how to help other people all the time. Like it's hard to help anyone in any certain situation. So I just tell them what helps me: staying healthy, working out, going to the counseling center. That's all you can really do. Hear them out, but just give them tips and tricks that I do.
That's fair, and I'm going to kind of ramp through the next 2 years because we've kind of gone quite detailed about your background. I appreciate you doing that and your candor on that. Sophomore, junior year. So, tell me about that part of your story.
Sophomore year, sophomore fall was probably the most on top of it I've ever been in my life. I got like a 3.8 something. Was really on top of all my grades. Great mental health. Sophomore spring, don't really remember much of what happened. I don't think much happened for me, at least. But just continuing on. Junior year, junior fall. Sorry, I'm trying to think of what happened when.
Oh, no worries.
Because it's hard to like.
I'll go down there with you if you go down. Okay, let me check real quick.
Yeah. Well, like, and like, what do you like? In what context are we asking? Like, just like things I've gone through sophomore, junior year, or like things?
Your story, like, how did you? Because we're sitting here in the Senate hall, in the Senate room, and you're a current member of the government.
Yeah.
Well, at least the legislative branch of the government. And what I want to try to understand is, you go from being a high school student in Southern Nevada to where you are today. Like, how did you get involved with government? Like, just kind of a quick, broad overview of you to a degree.
Yeah. So freshman year, I ran for Senate. Freshman spring, I ran for Senate because I was really pushed to do so by my sorority big Sasha Bond, as well as current President Anthony Martinez. They both really pushed me to run my freshman year, so I did. Joined ASUN. It was I understand why a lot of people freshman year, when they join, they're kind of like flustered, because it is a lot, because you don't really know what you're getting into. You're running off of a lot of things that, when you're joining Senate for your first year, you don't really know what ASUN can or can't do. You really don't know. So a lot of people, like I came in here and I was running off of the basis my freshman year of creating a mandatory diversity training for orientation students, creating sustainable initiatives back then when I didn't even really know if we could compost or not, but now I've gotten more knowledge on stuff like that. So it was just a big flustered situation. It took a while to get adjusted to. And then going into my next year of ASUN, I wasn't even going to join ASUN again because I thought I didn't like Senate to the extent that I thought I would like serving, because I thought of my high school student council and how enjoyable that was and everything like that. And I came to Senate, and it was just a lot of drama in the Senate office. It was a lot of politics, and I didn't like that. I don't like politics. I don't it's not my forte, the game and stuff like that. So I wasn't going to join, but then I got pushed to late apply for an open position of club commissioner for the Department of Clubs and Organizations, and I didn't really know what they did, so I talked to the director, Davis Florence, and he kind of really convinced me that that's something I should do, because he thought I would be good for it. And I was like, yeah, you know what, let's do it, let's interview me, you know what I mean, let's try to get this through. The first 3 months that I tried to get into my position, Senate couldn't meet for whatever reason. I don't know if you've...
I've had that experience, I'll tell you that.
But over summer, they kept not meeting quorum, which sucked. So I wasn't...
attendance issues.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to start my actual job until closer to the beginning of the school year. And I kind of just jumped in head first. I was wondering, because whenever I go into position, I always like to think about what can I change about this position I'm in. So for clubs and organizations, I'm trying to really make it more outreach based and not them come to you. Right. So we're trying to change the office hours aspect, because right now the students and clubs have to come to us. We're trying to make it more outreach based, so we have to go out to talk to them, because it's hard to come into the ASUN offices when you don't know what's going on here and you're just an outside student and you're this big old office, and you know what I mean? So
it's intimidating. It can be intimidating.
Yeah, it can be with a front desk of people asking, what would you like, when all our business cards out there. It's it feels intimidating walking in here sometimes. So we want to change that environment too. It shouldn't be as intimidating. We hope people feel welcome to come in here and hang out, because that's how it should be. But yeah, try to make it more outreach based, so we can go out and talk to them and see what they want and go to them, talk to them, and not them have to come to us.
Sure, sounds fair. So we're at the club commissioner stage. You're a club commissioner. Let's kind of move to a unique point in time. I'm sure at this point in time, ambition is maybe setting in, and you're kind of getting a grand scope of what's going on. What made you decide to run?
So I really thought to myself, because it really comes down to where can I try to make the most impact or change that I can. And at this current level, it is ASUN president. I really want to make this university just a better place, because I know my little sisters are coming here in the upcoming years, and I just want to try to make it the best place possible for when they do come here. As well as there was a lot of up in the air about who was going to run for president or vice president. No one really knew, because the last 3 years there was always kind of a set in stone option. With Hannah Jackson running, no one ran against her or Carissa Bradley. Anthony Martinez running, no one ran against him or Flangus. So this was the first year that the speaker wasn't planning on running, so it was really up in the air for who's gonna run, you know. So about 4 or 5 months ago, I was starting to think to myself, I thought, who is a good vice president that I could pick up, who has the other side of experience of ASUN than me, so just someone on the executive branch, and someone who's hardworking and who will get stuff done. And that's when I talked to Claudia, my vice presidential candidate, Claudia File, and we started planning everything, started going through our platform, everything like that, about 3 or 4 months ago. And then we just started hitting the ground running ever since campaigning started.
So you early on, 6 months out, you've been you've been kind of setting the framework, or at least the groundwork for this run.
I've been planning on running for ASUN president since my freshman year.
That's ambition right there.
I used to tell people in my dorms that I'm going to run for ASUN president, and I hope I win by senior year. So it's been a plan for me since the jump.
So essentially right now we're in the edge of a goal to a degree.
Yes, this was probably my biggest goal in my undergrad, and now it's 23 days away to seeing if it's going to happen or not. So,
which leads me to my next question I want to ask, because I'm sure you're out there making the pitch to people like me as you are right now. If I were to ask a simple, humble question, I'm just walking by a class, I see you handing out flyers, and I come up and ask you, why should I vote for you? Mm-hmm. What would you say to me?
I would say because it's not just one person, so it's not just voting for me. That's what I would say. You're not just voting for me, you're voting for me as well as my vice presidential candidate, Claudia File. Not only do we have the most experience, and I think experience is more than important when it comes to running the association, because you need to have a good knowledge of all the departments. You can't just have one firm knowledge of one department here or another firm knowledge of another department here. You really need to have a firm understanding of the whole association so you can help out and pick up slack wherever it need be. So if someone came in and asked about clubs and organizations funding, I could help them out. If they came in and talked about the exec branch, my vice president can help them out. If we Senate, I could help them out. We could both help them out. Leg affairs, haven't worked well with diversity and inclusion, haven't had my hand in either, but that's where I would hire the people that are that build up my weaknesses. Right. So since I don't have a firm understanding of leg affairs or diversity and inclusion departments, then that's where I would hire people that I could let them take the reins, let them do what they want, and just kind of oversee, but let them take control. So I'm not afraid of having other people take control and run with things, because if that's their strength, then I want that to be their strength, and I'm not going to hold them back from that. So I think experience, I would say also having an ASUN president that's level-minded, because I'm open-minded to new ideas, new things. I don't think that I have the best ideas for everything, and I feel like other people have better ideas for certain things, and I'm willing to listen and come together and make those ideas better. So I think those are two aspects that really would make me and Claudia, the next president and vice president, the best options.
So, kind of a quick summary of what you just said. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. You see yourself as a delegative type of leader, rather than a strong executive kind of guy.
I think it depends on the situation. I think 100% delegate, because I think everyone has their certain strengths, but my certain strengths are coming up with certain ideas or talking to people, talking to administration. So I think when it comes to things that aren't necessarily my strengths, a delegate type and being able to openly listen. But when there are my strengths, I will be the executive type and make sure things go smoothly.
That's fair. I raise that because I guess I was trying to understand where when you reference, if I don't have the experience or if I don't have the knowledge, I'm willing to ask, or at least I'm going to put some people in position of expertise that I may not have.
Yeah.
And so it had this sound of delegated, or at least participatory type of cabinet, kind of cabinet or leadership style.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're right in that sense, but I think that just comes hand in hand with being open-minded to, new ideas, new people, new things. So allowing someone to take the reins and do those certain projects and everything like that, and being an open mind, being supportive and listening is my leadership style that I would really want to focus on when it comes to those things.
That makes a little more sense to me now.
Yeah.
That clarifies that point. So we talked about your background, talked about what made you decide to run, why should I vote for you. What's one big thing, if elected, if given the chance to serve, that you're going to do, that you're going to make as your signature policy or administration's issue?
Signature policy. That's a difficult question because I think there's so many things that we want to do and want done. So thinking like singling out a single thing. Because we broke down our platform into 4 main things. So that's safety and inclusion, student voice and advocacy, sustainability, and health and wellness. So if you ask me, my personal thing that I really want done is for health, mental health, and like awareness to be more spread out throughout campus and more offered. But that would be me personally. I wouldn't know if that would be my administration's biggest goal that we all want to accomplish, but for me personally, that's the biggest thing I want to focus on because I think that's most important for our students and their mental health.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Along the same lines, you are going to be the chief, if elected, given the chance to serve, you will be the chief representative of this community, of the undergraduate community, to the administration, the operating administration of this university, whoever it will be succeeding Mr. Johnson in the summer of this year. Which will mean effectively you'll be dealing with a new leader at the top of the administration with a lot of old hands down at the administration, at Clark administration, who may have a different tug and pull of what they want to do. How would you deal with that new executive, and how do you plan to deal with a traditionally strong executive administration here at the university?
I think this is kind of a 2-part question. So the first part is saying that I would be the chief executive and be the one talking to administration and everything like that. It would be me and my vice president and whoever else that we hire. So it wouldn't just be me. So, but going alongside with that, being elected ASUN president, vice president, or being on the executive cabinet, we are not here to serve administration. We're here to serve the students. So if they do have an opposition pool of what the students want, we're here to speak on behalf of the students and what they want, not what administration wants. Because the administration already have things that they want to do or policies they want to push. We're here to be the voice for the students and be able to advocate for the wants and needs that they want, not what anyone else would want. So I'm willing to go to battle with some administrators on certain things, but on other things it just depends. So it's when the situation arises, we'll see how that goes. But I came into here not fully knowing that I would get letters of recommendation from administrators and things like that, because I'll be willing to open my mouth and go to battle for certain things for students, So I'm not here to get letters of recommendation for law school and stuff like that. I'm here to try to be the best president and have the best cabinet that we can have.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because that is a thorny issue that typically bedevils a lot of student chief executives. Because typically, I mean, you being an undergrad wanting to get to the next step in life, namely go law school in your case, there can be a bit of an intimidation factor dealing with someone who could literally have your future in their hands.
Yeah. Well, I think it comes down to I'd rather have grit than have signatures on a resume, because that would mean more to me at the end of the day.
And I'm kind of glad you raised that point because, and forgive me, this is kind of going back to personal again, because this is a character question about you to a degree.
Yeah.
So part of what got my attention about your race was some news about yourself that you've had to address recently.
Yeah.
In one of the campus publications, which shall remain nameless at this moment, and you had to face that fairly recently. I kind of want to ask this because I'd like hearing from the person directly.
Yeah.
Because you gave me some supporting grounding of that, or your background.
Yeah.
About that, about posts you put online, socially, on social media.
Yeah, I don't think we have to beat around the bush here. It's,
okay, so you put some posts online that were pretty embarrassing.
So
and I even called it that.
In 2013 and 2015, those tweets did surface and everything like that. And a big question I usually get when it comes to these tweets is, why didn't you go back and delete them? Like, why you really weren't smart enough to go back and do that? And the answer I give them is that I didn't think I really had anything to hide. I have never been homophobic or racist in my life, and I know that for myself. And those tweets were just immature, and pardon my language, bullshit that I do not stand for, and I don't think anyone should stand for. And all I can do now is apologize, because I didn't understand the effect of those words at that time. It was immaturity, but now I understand, and I'll advocate against those words till the death of me. And I just hope people realize that that's not a firm understanding of who I am, that those tweets are just 2013 and 2015, 100% not the same person I am today.
So, I mean, you have a deep understanding of, at least you recognize that those words today have meaning and have pain behind them. Can I ask in a kind of a human sense? Because I'm sure it's never nice to be in this kind of situation. Where were you, or what were you doing when you essentially started getting tweets and messages from people on campus about this?
I was actually, so the first time this tweet came to my notification, we were at a team training for issues on campus, and it was just trying to learn. It was with me and my vice presidential candidate, Claudia, and that kind of like rattled my brain right off the bat. I couldn't really focus. So I went to the bathroom, just had to breathe, because I was like, wow, like what happened? Like what's going on, basically. And then over the next couple days, I work around 45 to 50 hours a week at both jobs I work at. So
you work 2 jobs?
Yes. And a lot of the times, like these tweets were coming out or anything, I was at work. So it was really hard to reply or do anything, because I can't be on my phone much at work. So it was just more harnessing my thoughts. I was thinking about what to say or what to do, or like how to address this with, and trying to get people to understand that I'm not that person that those tweets show, and how am I going to address that, and how am I going to show that to people, because the people close to me understand that. But on social media, when you just see those tweets, I would even think, okay, if that person was willing to say that, then that person's homophobic. But it's deeper than that. You got to understand, like, okay, that's not who he is. And that's why any person that was tweeting me, I was trying to sit down with all of them, let them get to know me, because once they get to know me and show who I am, I'm not a BSer, you know what I mean? So that's basically that. But I was at work for a lot of it, which was, my managers were asking me what's going on the whole time.
So your bosses were aware that this was going on?
Yeah, my managers, because my manager at Porta Subs, I work at Porta Subs in the Joe.
Downstairs right now?
Yeah, and I've worked there for the past 3 years. She's kind of like a mom away from home. I go to her and I'll rant about everything going on in my life. And she'll kind of just sit there and listen. So it's more just like, more than just a manager, like employee relationship. It's like she's the person I go to when I need to talk about just normal stuff, or need to rant about anything, stuff like that.
So you people on the outside kind of telling you what was going on the outside, telling you something that while you were at work, essentially in the work bubble, that you had a political controversy, kind of spreading around you.
Yeah, and they were all asking me, like, what are you going to say? And I was like, I do not know yet. I kind of know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. So that's when I had to sit down, think about it, write it out, and then send my statement to the, you said the article that shall not be named or something.
Well, you can say it now. You can say
it. Yeah, about a sagebrush. So, yeah.
So that was you penning that letter, verbatim. That was you?
Yes.
So that was, for the record, that was Andrew himself writing that statement?
Yes.
I wanted to ask and clarify because, naturally, I've worked in politics and political campaigns. It's always a staffer I've always learned that pens us, and I wanted to understand the genesis of where, we get the tweets, we have responses, we have the mass response, and then you respond to the sagebrush Saturday morning, and then I basically made a decision at that point myself to disengage because I realized, okay.
Yeah, you were tweeting at me as well.
You've given an answer, and hence why we're here, to get an understanding of that, because I wanted to understand the man behind the words.
Yeah, and I'm glad you sat down with me today, and I'm glad we could have this discussion as well.
I am too, because I am a firm believer that people are three-dimensional, and that we're not just simply words on a page.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad to hear, with your very words on record, face-to-face, looking me in the eye, by the way.
Yeah.
I just want to note this for record. He's looking me in the eye. That he said this, and he said this, and he understands this. And if I may ask, for the record, regarding those statements, I can't. There's nothing else out there out in the world that we shouldn't expect at this time.
I'm certainly hope not.
Okay.
I didn't even know about those tweets, so I can't think of anything.
Okay.
I can't, but I mean, I would say no.
Okay.
But obviously, if I didn't know about,
the reason why I asked is I want to be sure, because you were very, very adamant and very sincere about that. So I want to ask for the record, because I believe in giving people a fair chance and giving a chance to speak. And I think you've done that in this conversation today about the genesis of that issue.
Yeah.
So, can I ask you another character question on the same line?
Yeah, I do have to leave in about 2 minutes.
Yes. So I'll try to be to the point and to try to do a wrap up here.
Okay.
Along the same lines, let's talk about the concept of forgiveness and change. Do you believe people are capable of forgiveness and change?
Yes. I think people can change. I think people are able to forgive, and I think people change throughout their life all the time. It just depends what it is and how it is, and it changes for each person, and it's different for each person. But
hello, how's it going?
If I sat here and said people weren't able to change, I'd be a hypocrite.
What happened?
So.
I think they're on the record right now.
So concurrently on that same note, I think, because I'm kind of glad I asked that at the end of that topic. You're up on the ballot in 23 days. Mm-hmm. We've had this firestorm. You've survived it. You're still in one piece. And you've got a smile on your face throughout it all, which I have to give you points for. Cause
I wouldn't say a smile on my face throughout the entire time. You didn't see me in the bathroom breathing and stuff like that. So
fair enough.
Now I'm able to have a smile on my face simply because a lot of people realize that's not who I am. So that's probably the biggest thing. A lot of people reached out to me and said, I've known you for years. I know you're not homophobic. I know you're not closed-minded like that. For the first day, though, there wasn't anyone coming to me and being like, hey, I know you and you're not like that. So it was getting in my head a lot. I was like, God, this sucks, But it was like I'd made the decisions I did when I was 13 and 15 years old, and now I have to live with it. So I'm not feeling sorry for myself because I did choose those words to use when I was that age. It was just more like I hope I can make people see I'm not like this, and I hope I can prove that to them through my actions and everything like that, and not come off insincere when I'm doing it, because I don't I'm not big into politics, so I didn't know what
as you alluded to earlier.
Yeah, I don't know how to be genuine but not seem insincere, because it's
political,
yeah. So it was just stirring through my mind a lot, but now I'm feeling okay, and I'm ready to start campaigning, ready to keep campaigning for the rest of the campaign season and keep it going.
And along that same line, I want to give you a chance to make a closing statement, which I know you've got to go through shortly.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I didn't ask you today in our conversation about you, your campaign, your initiatives, yourself? Anything you like at all? I want to give you that opportunity at the close to make the case to the public and the people of your fellow students here at the University of Nevada, Reno. You have the floor, sir.
First off, for anything that's happened in the past, I want to say I'm sorry for. I can't change the words that I used in my past, but I can show that my actions aren't consistent with those words used at those ages. I'm ready to serve as next ASUN president. I know that deep in my bones. I'm ready to be here, and I'm ready to be a voice for students. I'm ready to listen, and I'm ready to advocate for everyone and anyone on this campus. I'm ready to be a great leader that everyone can look up to and confide in, and I hope that I can be as your next ASUN president.
Mr. McKinney, I appreciate the fact you were gracious enough to give me the time that you shared with us this afternoon with me and WENEI. And I appreciate the fact you have been so willing to be open and give so much candor about yourself and about a lot. So
well, this is the right everyone has as I'm running for an official office like president. Anyone has the ability to sit down with me and pick my brain and talk to me, because you should have that ability in anyone running for any office.
Right.
So that's why I'm giving anyone the opportunity. If anyone listening wants to sit down and talk to me and do the same thing, we can sit down and have another conversation. And I'm ready. Let's talk. You know.
All right. Well, Mr. McKinney, I appreciate your time.
Awesome.
It's nice to be a fellow criminal justice major.
Yep.
And good luck out there, right, man?
Thank you.
Well, and thus ends my interview with Mr. Andrew
McKinney.
And shutting down recorder number 1. Shutting down. That one's off. Shutting down recorder number 2. And shutting down recorder number 3.